All right. Well, welcome to RU 703. Good to have you all here. And things are just going, and they're happening. I talked to Miss Deanna, went into her office to talk to her about something else, and spent about an hour talking to her. That's great. She was going to be back today, but then something happened and things and this and that, so she had to take another 14 days. But be praying for her. She's looking to be here. I may try to do a Zoom call if I can figure out how to do that on the big screen and let her kind of join the meeting one time. But we'll just see what happens with that. But we're here to help each other to find, maintain, and grow our walk with the Lord. And as it's really important because the world's crazy out there, and we need some guidance. We need to know what to do and how to do it and how to respond and all those things. And our walk with the Lord is what's going to do that. And one of the things we've got, of course, is our 10 principles, which just helps us make wise decisions in life. And it's pretty important to make wise decisions. So let's go ahead and go through our 10 principles. Do I got them up there? Everything's working? Good. All right. So number 1 says, if God's against it, so am I. Number 2, every sin has its origin in our heart. Number 3, it's easier to keep the heart clean than to clean it after it's been defiled. Number 4, we cannot fight a fleshly appetite by indulging in it. Number 5, small compromises lead to great disasters. Number 6, those who do not love the Lord will not help you serve the Lord. Number 7, our sinful habits do hurt those who follow us. Number 8, it's not possible to fight a fleshly temptation with a fleshly weapon. Number 9, we lose our freedom to choose when we give in to temptation. Our consequences are inevitable, incalculable, and up to God. And number 10, God balances guilt with blame. Accept the blame for your actions, and God will remove the guilt. And again, these are all biblical principles. Sorry, I'm making a note here. These are all biblical principles. They're not necessarily Bible verses, but they're definitely from the Bible. A lot of them come from Psalms 1, which we're going to do in just a minute. And it's just, if we can get these into our heart and allow them to instruct us and teach us as we go through life, these principles will help us to make better decisions, and better decisions makes for a better life. And it's just so important that we do that. All right, let's look at Psalms 1 here. Ready? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and how doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Just as I was going through the 10 principles, for what it's worth, I think next week I'm going to just start teaching on the 10 principles. I haven't done that for a while, and it was kind of on purpose, but I think God just kind of said, start that up again, so I'm going to start next week and done that. I haven't taught you all 10 principles for a long time, have I? It's been a long time since I've done them. Other people have, but I don't think I have. So I think we'll go back and do that next week. But right now, Proverbs 30. I'm going to do Proverbs 30, verses 24 through 28. And again, this is something that I've read, I don't know how many times over the years, and I never heard this before. But God decided to tell it to me, so. Here we go. So it says, the spider take... am I in the right place? Let me just look here. Yep. Nope. I started too late there. I'm sorry. 24 through 28. That's why I underlined the wrong one. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in summer. The conies, which are like rabbits, are but a feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. Locusts have no king, yet they go forth all of them by bands. And the spider taketh hold with her hands and is in the king's palaces. And I've read this. I've read this many, many times. I've even talked about it, a couple of them sometimes. I remember we talked about the ants a while back. But God just spoke to me in a different direction back, last week, I guess, on the 30th. And he said this: God gives wisdom to those who ask. And I've talked to you a lot about that. Proverbs is a lot about wisdom. And, God gives us wisdom. He says, ask and you shall receive. Wisdom comes from God. If you ask God, he'll give you wisdom. And many have wisdom, but are not wise. And I've talked to you all about that too. When you ask God for wisdom, he gives it to you. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. He says, here it is. He sets it down in front of you. Now what you're going to do with it, you have to either take it up and carry it, or take it up and put it in your heart and use it. So I can have wisdom without being wise. I have wisdom right here. I have it. I can read it. I can talk to you about it. I can teach about it and all these other things. Even a lost person can have wisdom. My mom, before she was saved, the Bible, in a lot of ways, was her rule book, her guidebook as a psychiatrist to help people, because her model of interpersonal relationships, she tried to help people to normalize their relationships with themselves, others, and how to deal with things. She got all that from the Bible. She used the Bible as her guide as a lost person, because she said it made the most sense. She looked at the man stuff, Jung and Skinner and all these other guys, and said, that's just weird. And if you study it, it's just weird. It's so bizarre. But she said the Bible works, and that's what she taught. She had wisdom. But she wasn't wise. Number one, she wasn't saved. She couldn't have God's wisdom inside of her. So many have wisdom but are not wise. A person who has wisdom carries it with them, and they can take it and they can use it. They can tell others what to do and why, but it's just an intellectual exercise, having wisdom. It's not all that hard to have wisdom. I mean, we can read what the Bible says. We can do what the Bible says. We can say it. It's not that hard. Even a lost person, all they need to do is read the Bible, because the Bible teaches wisdom, and we can learn anything we set our mind to. We can. Maybe hard or maybe easy, but we can learn. But here's the deal. Few people are wise. There's few people that really are wise. Having wisdom is an outside thing. Having wisdom, that's an outside thing. It's something we can put on or take off. Being wise is an inside thing. To become wise, we have to take God's wisdom. We must let him write it on the table of our heart. That's what the Bible says. We must take our wisdom out and delete it, get rid of it. We must take out our wisdom that we've worked hard for, that we're proud of. We must put it in the computer on the recycle bin and hit delete, get rid of it. We must get rid of our wisdom so that God can replace it with his wisdom. He can't put his wisdom in there until we get ours out of the way. There's not room. We have to get rid of ours in our heart for him to put his wisdom in our heart. It's the only way we can get it. Having wisdom is saying the words that are wise. And a lot of people can say the words that are wise. But being wise is living the precepts and principles of wisdom. Having wisdom comes from our head. Being wise comes from our heart. And since our pride, I know my pride for sure, always wants to consider ourselves as wise, kind of a question, how can we tell if we are wise? How can we judge ourselves? Are we wise? Because our pride will always say, well, yes, of course you're wise. You're Mr. Corright. Of course you're wise. Everybody says you are. You must be. Okay, but how do I know if I really am? If it's in my heart, or if it's just in the outside? How do we discern if someone else is wise or just has wisdom? And God right here gives us 4 characteristics, actually 5 characteristics of a wise person. He describes not just a wise person, but he describes an exceedingly wise person. We go back here. There are 4 things, verse 24. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. I never really saw that before. Here's 4 things, 4 ways to tell. Not if you're just wise, but if you're exceeding wise even. All the characteristics fall under one general but very important category. The first thing he says is, there be 4 things which are little upon the earth. Okay, the most important difference between a person who has wisdom and a person who is wise is that a wise person becomes little. This is the greatest battle we'll fight in becoming wise, is to be little. Our overriding natural tendency is to be someone, to stand out, to achieve, to have importance. That's what we want. Having wisdom makes us important people. Makes us important people will come to us for our wisdom. I have wisdom. Then people will say, oh, look, he has wisdom. I'm going to go there and get wisdom. And that we like that because we like the attention. To become wise, we have to understand that we are not wise. To become wise, we have to understand, number one, that we're not wise. We're not important. That we truly have no value without God. What we have is worthless without God. We must give up our striving for value, for recognition, for importance, all the things that make us big. We must clear out all those desires and strivings so there's place for God to put his wisdom into us. The overriding characteristic of a wise person is humility. Humility is being little. I'm not anything. I'm not. There's nothing here. That's humility, okay? The wise person does not seek strength. They do not strive. They don't grasp to get, to have, to hold on to. A wise person, a person that truly is wise, they work quietly, day by day, doing whatever God directs their hand to. They live within their means, and because they take care of God's daily business, God lays up for them all they need in time of trouble. Okay, so it talks here about the ants, or people that are not strong. Okay, they prepare their meat in summer. Okay, a wise person doesn't seek strength. Okay, an ant's not strong. A wise person is not strong. Okay, he gets his strength from the Lord. So that's what this is talking about, the ant. And that's one of the, to be a wise person, we have to understand we have nothing. We're not strong. We're not smart. We don't have. We're little. That way, because God says in your weakness is strength. When you're small, he can become big. When I'm weak, then his strength can fill me. But as long as I think I'm something, as long as I think I'm strong, I can't have stuff from God. He can't make me strong. He can't make me someone. Okay? And then the next one there talks about the conies, or a feeble folk. Okay? And a wise person does not seek strength to overcome and protect. A wise person seeks the strength and protection of the Lord. A wise person does not build strongholds to defend themselves against the danger of the world. The conies here, the little rabbits, they're feeble, but where do they live? They live in the rocks. They live in a place of strength, in a place of protection, the rocks. Nothing can get to them. The storm can't, the rain can't, the wind can't, predators can't. They're back in the rocks. Nobody can get to them. That's what it's talking about. I don't seek strength. I don't seek to overcome and protect myself. I seek to live in the stronghold. A wise person does not build strongholds for themselves. Okay, because our strongholds are the walls we build. The walls we build to keep things out, to keep us safe. And that's a bad thing. Because when we have these walls around us, we won't let God in. Okay, a wise person makes their dwelling in the stronghold, singular, of the Lord. He built the stronghold. It's his. A wise person understands their inability to protect himself and runs into the fortress of God. A wise person doesn't seek to protect himself. He goes to God and says, you have to do this for me. Okay, and then the next one here, the locust, no king. But they all go forth by bands. A wise person does not seek kings or leaders. They don't seek to be a king or a leader. If God directs them to lead, they lead. If God directs them to follow, they follow. The direction of a wise person is not determined by kings or leaders. The direction is set by God. Because wise people are following God's direction, they're all going the same way. I don't know if you've ever seen locusts take off, and I've never seen them personally, but I've seen movies and pictures, videos of them. They're just all of a sudden they're up here, and they move as millions as a group. But there's no leader. There's nobody saying, left face. They just do it. And that's what I'm talking about here. Wise people are following God's direction. They're all going the same way. The purpose and direction of a wise person is set by God, not by man, towards God. All wise people will be in unity of direction and purpose without having to be directed by man. If I am a wise person and Sean is a wise person, and Tim is a wise person, meaning God's wisdom. We will all three be going God's direction. Whether we know each other or not makes no difference. Whether we have the same jobs or anything, doesn't matter, because God's direction is God's direction. I will be following God's direction, and Sean will be following God's direction, and Tim will be following God's direction. And without a leader or a king, we will be going the same way in unity of purpose and direction, because we're following God, not anything else. That's very different than a person that just has wisdom. And then the last one here is the spider taketh hold with her hands, and is in the king's palace. The spider is very small, very weak, very, very unobtrusive, but yet they're in the king's palace. A wise person is sought out by kings and leaders. They don't have to seek an audience with the king. They're sought out by the king. A wise person takes the back seat, the least important position, the place of no honor. The king, the leader, asks them to come forward, asks them to sit in the place of honor. A wise person never seeks honor, they're given honor. When they receive honor, they always give it back to God, because they know that it belongs to him. And so this thing is, are you a wise person? Am I a wise person? Well, those are the tests I need to run. Number one, I got to be little. It's not easy for us to be little, because we want to be, we want to do, we want to have recognition. I don't want any of that. I truly, and I fight against that, okay, because I have pride. Okay, I have to understand that I'm not strong. That any strength I have is only going to come from God. God's been reminding me a lot lately that I don't have strength. I can feel it. I know. I go to him all the time lately. Just say, God, I can't do this. And he says, I know, it's okay, but I can. Just stay with me, and I'll take care of it. Okay, a wise person doesn't have to worry about protecting themselves. I used to spend a lot of time trying to take care of things, to protect myself, to fix this, to do this. And again, lately, it's like, God, I can't do that either. I can't fix this. I don't know how to protect myself. I don't know how to take care of business. I don't know how to protect my wife and I in the future. So I'm just going to go hang out with you, God, and let you do and trust you that you will keep me safe. That's all I can do. Okay, and the last one here is the wise person doesn't have to have a leader. Doesn't seek to be a leader or seek to have a leader. Now, if you have a leader, follow them, and we all have them. And if you are a leader, lead. If you're a follower, follow. But don't seek that out. Seek the position that God gives you. Direction is set by God, not by man. Preachers said it so many times in the last couple of weeks. You get up, don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But I know that God's on the throne, and I'm going to follow him and do what he says. I don't even know where he's going to take me, but I know I'm going to follow him. Those are kind of the characteristics of a wise person. It's not a person who seeks to have it and show it off. Okay, it's a person who takes it within themselves and allows God to do whatever it is that he wants to do. All right, so let's go ahead and go into second talk here, and we'll be back here at